One morning, Henry was feeling very sorry for himself. Sometimes he could pull trains, but sometimes he felt he had no strength at all. I suffered dreadfully, and no one cares. Rubbish, Henry, snorted James. You don't work hard enough. The Fat Controller spoke to him too. You're too expensive, Henry. You had lots of new parts and new paint too, but they've done you no good. If we can't make you better, we must get another engine instead of you. This made Henry, his driver, and his fireman very sad. The Fat Controller was waiting when Henry came to the platform. He had taken off his hat and coat and put on overalls. Henry managed to start, but his fireman was not satisfied. Henry is a bad steamer, he said to the Fat Controller. I build up his fire, but it doesn't give enough heat. Henry tried very hard, but it was no good. He didn't have enough steam and came to a stop outside Edward's station. Oh dear, thought Henry, I shall have to go away. Oh dear, oh dear. All he could do was to go slowly onto a siding, and Edward took charge of the train. The Fat Controller and fireman went on discussing Henry's troubles. What do you think is wrong, fireman? Asked the Fat Controller. Excuse me, sir, he answered, but the fact is the coal is wrong. We've had a poor lot lately, and today it's worse. The other engines can manage, they have big fireboxes. Henry's is small and can't make the heat. With Welsh coal, he'd be a different engine. It's expensive, said the Fat Controller, but Henry must have a fair chance. James shall go and fetch some. When the Welsh coal came, Henry's driver and fireman were excited. Now we'll show them, Henry, old fellow. They carefully made his fire, putting large lumps of coal like a wall round the outside. Then the glowing middle part was covered with smaller lumps. You're spoiling my fire, complained Henry. Wait and see, said the fireman. We'll have a roaring fire, just when we want it. The fireman was right. When Henry reached the platform, the water was boiling nicely, and he had to let off steam. How are you, Henry? Peep, peep, whistled Henry. I feel fine. Have you a good fire, driver? Never better, sir, and plenty of steam. No record breaking, warned the Fat Controller. Don't push him too hard. Henry won't need pushing, sir. I'll have to hold him back. Never felt so well in his life. He wanted to go fast, but his driver wouldn't let him. Steady, old fellow, he would say. There's plenty of time. They arrived early at the station. Thomas puffed in. Where have you been, lazybones? Asked Henry. Oh, I can't wait for dawdling tank engines like you. Goodbye. Whoosh, said Thomas to Annie and Clarabelle. Have you ever seen anything like it? Both Annie and Clarabelle agreed that they never had. All kinds of ships use the harbor at the big station by the sea. There are passenger ships, cargo ships, and fishing boats also come here. They unload their fish on the quay. Some of it goes to shops in the town, and the rest in a special train to other places far away. This is the train the railwaymen call the Flying Kipper. Henry was ready at 5 o'clock. There was snow and frost. Men hustled and shouted, loading the vans with crates of fish. The last door banged, the guard showed his green lamp. The flying kipper was ready to go. Come on, don't be silly, puffed Henry to the vans. The vans shuddered and groaned. Trock, trick, all right. That is better, puffed Henry. Clouds of smoke and steam poured from his funnel into the cold air, and the fire's light shone brightly. Hurry, panted Henry. They were going well. The light grew better. Signal light shone green as they passed. Then a yellow signal appeared ahead. His driver prepared to stop, but the home signal was down. All clear, Henry. Away we go.
The next morning, the Fat Controller came to the sheds with bad news. Henry has had an accident.
Ice and snow caused the accident.
But all is not lost. He is being sent away to Crew for an overhaul. It's a fine place for sick engines. He'll return better than he's been feeling in years. The engines were ecstatic. His overhaul is expected to take a few months.
A diesel is all that's available. Please do your best to avoid any disturbances.
What does that mean? Whispered Duck.
That means this diesel is difficult, snapped James.
And it was. The diesel surveyed the shed.
Not bad. I've seen worse. At least you're all clean.
The engines glared.
It's not your fault, but Sir Topham Hatt should scrap you and get engines like me. A fill of oil, a touch on the starter, and I'm off. No bother, no waiting. They have to fuss round you for hours before you're ready. The engines were furious. Next morning, they held an indignation meeting round the turntable. Disgraceful.
Disgusting.
Despicable. To say such things to us, cried Donald and Douglas, is to teach them a lesson we'd be wanting. Now how do we do it?
Their chance came sooner than expected. The diesel was purring comfortably. An inspector watched a fitter making final adjustments. The wind tugged at the inspector's hat. He rolled proudly toward his coaches. Then it happened. Shaking and spluttering, the diesel stopped.
I don't understand. This never happens.
Meanwhile, the inspector was looking for his hat. The diesel seethed with fury as Duck and Stepney pushed him back to the shed.
My hat, exclaimed the inspector. You sucked it through your air intake. Bother your hat. The heavy train's due out. You'll have to take it, Duck.
The diesel was stuck in the shed and watched as Duck set off to pull the train instead.
I'm ready when you are, replied Duck.
Diesel, feeling quite embarrassed of himself, had his shed door shut.
But he left two things behind. A rather nasty smell and a battered bowler hat.
Ah, Mr. Secretary.
Mr. Bird.
Sir, and did you hear the news about good old General Mercer?
No.
You know Claremont Street?
Yeah.
They renamed it after him. The Mercer legacy is secure.
Sure.
All he had to do was die.
Yeah, that's a lot less work.
We ought to give it a try.
Huh.
Now, how you going to get your debt plan through?
I guess I'm gonna finally have to listen to you.
Really?
Talk less. Smile more. Do whatever it takes to get my plan on the Congress floor.
Now, Madison and Jefferson are merciless.
What? Hate the sin, love the sinner.
Hamilton.
I'm sorry, Burr, I gotta go.
But
Decisions are happening over dinner.
two Virginians and an immigrant walk into a room diametrically opposed foes. They emerge with a compromise, having opened doors that were previously closed. Pros. The immigrant emerges with unprecedented financial power, a system he can shape however he wants. The Virginians emerge with the nation's capital. And here's the pièce de résistance. No one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one really knows how the game is played, the art of the trade, how the sausage is made. We just assume that it happens, but no one else is in the room where it happens. Thomas claims
Alexander was on Washington's doorstep one day in distress and disarray.
Thomas claims
Alexander said,
I've nowhere else to turn.
and basically begged me to join the fray.
Thomas claims
I approached Madison and said, I know you hate him, but let's hear what he has to say.
Thomas claims
Well, I arranged the meeting. I arranged the menu, the venue, the seating.
But no one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one really knows how the parties get to yes. Pieces that are sacrificed in every game of chess. We just assume that it happens, but no one else is in the room where it happens. Meanwhile, Madison is grappling with the fact that not every issue can be settled by committee. Congress is fighting over where to put the capital. It isn't pretty. The Jefferson approaches with the dinner and invite, and Madison responds with Virginian insight.
Maybe we can solve one problem with another and win the victory for the Southerners. In other words, a quid pro quo.
I suppose.
Wouldn't you like to work a little closer to home?
Actually, I would.
Well, I propose the Potomac.
And you'll provide him his votes.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Let's go.
No.
What else was in the room where it happened? The room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened.
My God, it got to trust, but we never really know what got discussed. Click, boom, and it happened. And no one else is in the room where it happened.
Alexander Hamilton.
What did they say to you to get you to sail New York City down the river?
Alexander Hamilton.
Did Washington know about the dinner? Was there presidential pressure to deliver?
Alexander Hamilton.
Or did you know even then it doesn't matter where you put the U.S. capital?
Cause we'll have the banks. We're in the same spot.
You got more than you gave.
And I wanted what I got. When you got skin in the game, stay in the game. But you don't get a win unless you play in the game. Oh, you get love for it. You get hate for it. You get nothing if you wait for it, wait for it, wait. God help and forgive me. I wanna build something that's gonna outlive me. What do you wanna learn? What do you wanna learn? If you stay for nothing, what are you for?
I wanna be in the room where it happens, the room where it happens. I wanna be in the room where it happens, the room where it happens. I wanna be in the room where it happens. I wanna be in the room where it happens, the room where it happens. I wanna be in the room where it happens, the room where it happens. I wanna be in the room where it happens. I wanna be in the room where it happens, the room where it happens. That big old the art of the compromise. Hold your nose and close your eyes.
They wanna lead us to save the day.
You don't get a say in what they trade away.
We dream of a brand new start.
But we dream in the dark for the most part. Dark as a tomb where it happens. I've got to be in the room where it happens. I've got to know where it happens. I've got to be where it happens. I've got to be in the room where it happens. I gotta be where it happens. In the room where it happens. Click, boom.
You know, Pinchy, don't you get tired of seeing the way they treat them? And, you know, like she's all bad? Yeah, I do. I mean, it is, right? What makes her so special? Right then, Hey, I got a plan. I'm due up in the quarry mine in half an hour. I was thinking maybe if I, fake a little engine troubles, then I could get her to replace me. Then you follow her up there, and, whatever happens, happens. And the two engines sat together and schemed for a long time until they had the whole plan completely worked out. Then, right on cue, Andy mysteriously broke down, and Lady was dispatched to fill in for him.
Broke into the castle, stole the child, just like that.
Well, I guess we got away with it. Uh-oh. You there, would you allow me to speak with Tan in private? Yeah, sure. What'd he say? Yeah, some workmen reported it. I'm off the island by tomorrow. And then, one day in July, Sir Topham Hatt told him that Henry was due to return any day and that his services would no longer be needed soon. Andy left the island of Sodor, feeling that he had failed to accomplish his goal.
Henry liked being a crew, but was glad to come home. A crowd of people waited to see him arrive in his new shape. He looked so splendid and strong that they gave him 3 cheers.
He puffed up proudly to the turntable, displaying his new shape for all the engines to see. As he reversed into his old shed, the engines took solace in knowing that Sodor was finally back to normal.